welcome everybody to the Hooligan Sports Podcast, Season 2, Episode 22. With me today, got Rico and Christian, but today is not like any other episode. Today is a special episode for us. It's a big one we've been looking forward to. Today we are being joined by former LA Kings player, current Kings color analyst, and Southern California Broadcast Hall of Famer, none other than the one and only Mr. Jim Fox.
Yeah. Foxy, where is he? He's logging on.
Is it back on?
Coming on, guys.
There he is.
There we go.
There he is. We hear the voice. Hey,
there we go.
Foxy.
It wasn't just archive footage. It's him. It's really him.
We rolled the old footage of it. Thank you, Foxy, for being a part of our show. Thank you for joining us today. There's been a lot going on. Obviously, it's been crazy times. That's been the theme of our show for like the last, 4 or 5 months. Crazy times. It's really different for all of us sports fans. But regardless, we still obviously talking about sports, everything going on. Now that sports are coming back, there's a reason to be, I guess, optimistic. There's reasons to be cautious. But, I mean, we still got to go for it regardless. We're still going to keep marching forward and trying to, get this going. Rico, if you want to get it started.
Yeah, with that in mind, Jim, 4 months, right, and going with COVID going on, how has it affected you, being in the sports industry? Everything just went to a halt and stopped, What's the life of Jim Fox right now during COVID and no sports?
Yeah, it's, it's not difficult. It's just you have to be disciplined. You have to try to do whatever you can to make sure you're protecting the public health. My wife Susie and I, that's what we've been doing. We've been in and out, back and forth, but mostly staying at home. A daily walk has been a fixture for the 4 months now, which we didn't do before. And finding out that I have a real nice neighborhood here in Redondo Beach, really didn't get a chance to take a look at before.
Definitely can't go wrong with the South Bay.
Yeah, so you're just trying to make sure that you're protecting yourselves, but at the same time protecting others. We have been following all the guidelines as far as the wearing the masks and social distancing and staying home when we need to stay at home and only venture out when you need to. So that's basically been the way it's been, and we probably plan to make it that way. Trying to keep track of what's going on, but there hasn't been much news until recently when everyone's coming back now. So that's good for everyone. Still trying to do my daily Spanish lessons, which I'm trying to get going. And
how's that going?
I found it a little easier in the beginning. Now it's dropping off a little bit back and forth, but I'll try to get back to that to make it a daily thing. And that's basically how I'm occupying my time right now.
Good. Well, it's good to hear that you and Susie are doing great, Jim. If anything, we just want to make sure everyone gets through this, but with that in mind, like you said, things are starting to come back. Restaurants are opening up slowly. Life is kind of coming back, and definitely sports is coming back right now. Besides hockey, what does Jim Fox watch out there also? What other sports fan are you of?
You know what? That's since the lockdown. I'm a sports-wise, I'm a big soccer fan. So that has been shut down until recently. Of course, over in Europe, everything has been going again, and then Premier League just played their last games on yesterday. So, but trying to watch that as much as possible. In all honesty, what I've done is I really haven't done a lot of it before, which is the Netflix and all the new movies and TV shows and series and binge watching and doing a lot of that. And
what is on Jim Fox's Netflix playlist?
Yeah, what are you binge watching?
Do you watch Tiger King, Jim?
I did watch it. It took me about 2 months after everyone else had finished it before I went into
it. We're still trying to get Bustos to watch it. He won't watch it. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's okay. It's interesting. It's a little weird at times, but
very weird.
A lot of weird.
Not everyone's like us, right? They get
right.
They get to be unique and do their own thing. And I've finished a lot of series already. Yesterday I just finished Schitt's Creek. So that was that was very interesting to me. That was so well done, as good a show as I've seen.
I don't think I've seen that one yet.
Anything on Netflix I've done. Went back, did some old Curb Your Enthusiasm, catching up with that type of stuff.
The classics.
Now on the Kaminsky method.
Oh, there you go.
So just, something I never did before. And the one thing I've never done before, guys, really is, I've got hooked on this, America's Got Talent and British Got Talent. It's mostly on YouTube. Okay. I've done that, and I thought then they have the 10 best this, the 10 best that, and I try to still work out every day. So I do work out for an hour every day. I have an elliptical here at home, and I throw that on while I'm working out and getting to. YouTube's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Finally, just getting into all the deep into what's going on and finding out that there's some pretty good stuff out there.
Yeah, you end up going down that YouTube rabbit hole of like one video, then another video suggested, and then another video suggested, and the next thing you know
it's 3 a.m.
Yeah, it's 3
a.m. You're like, what am I doing?
I'm watching some guy digging a pool in the jungle right now, and I don't know what's going on.
I'll tell you a story, guys. This is a while ago, of course, when I mentioned I sat beside a player after practice, and I asked him, what are you doing? What do you do? What do you like? What do you like to do? And he says to me, I like YouTube. And I said, you too. I said, they're really good. They're really good. He said, no, YouTube. I hadn't heard of it, so.
You're like, Bono, of course.
I was introduced to it by Sean Avery. So.
Oh wow.
Okay. That makes sense. That definitely makes sense. That like hearing that, I'm like, this sounds like Sean Avery's written all over it.
This is Avery in the early days of YouTube. Also, I could definitely see it.
Early days.
Early days of YouTube when he was still around. Christian, I think you got the next one, right?
Yeah. I guess it's funny. I was actually looking at somebody's comment in the YouTube channel, and it came up to my question. As a matter of fact, with many teams in the hockey bubble in Canada right now, how do you feel about hockey coming back after a 4-month layoff? And how do you feel about the Kings not being part of the restart?
Well, we knew we weren't going to be part of it.
Yeah.
I don't think, they didn't earn the right to be part of it. They weren't close to a playoff spot. They weren't anywhere near there. So you have to, we can talk till we're blue in the face about what's going on and why they decide this way. And, with a team that loses in the qualifying round has a chance to get the first overall pick.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But I think that they've done a great job, and we all know it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be what we're used to. But you know what? It is different. This is the first time in 100 years.
Yeah, definitely.
100 plus years that has had to experience this type of thing where and now it's affecting the whole world. So the news that came out today, but I'm not going to overreact to it, but 0 positives as far as the COVID testing.
Great. That's great news.
Yeah, they have the bubbles. I think it's going to be very interesting to see if there is one sport that is based on emotion and crowd interaction. It might be hockey.
Yes.
So that's going to be something get used to.
I mean, especially when we're talking like playoff hockey, specifically when it's so much of the crowd feeds into the game, and it's such a difference maker for home ice advantage. Basically taking out home ice advantage of the equation of the playoffs, I feel like is going to be very interesting to see. Because like you said, this is a once in a lifetime, or hopefully, let's hope, cross our fingers, once in a lifetime event that we're going to be going through, and that alone is enough for to keep my attention and everything. Just like I'll be looking at it obviously from a different perspective. It's cool to hear you say the same thing, because it's something new, and I feel like sometimes something new and some changes maybe sometimes scare people. They just want the tradition and they want it to be a certain way, but in a way I'm kind of embracing this new way of having playoff hockey this season.
Yeah, the adaptation of the NHL was great. It was either do something or don't do anything at all, and we needed to have some names on the cup this year, at least, whatever format it had to be.
And like as far as when Christian had asked about the Kings, I know they weren't technically eliminated from the playoffs. I don't think that game, they were really close. I know there was like a win or two away from that actually happening, but the season ended before. But is that something that maybe the players are aware of, or you know what I mean, like knowing that they could have potentially gone on some magical Cinderella run or something like that, but that opportunity will never even present itself? Is that something
or even play spoiler? They could have played spoiler at the end because they were on a 7-game winning streak too, so could have went a lot of ways.
Knowing what I know now, this is the way I feel, guys. The Kings have the 2nd overall pick. That's it.
Yes.
I mean, not going to argue. Yeah, not going to argue with that.
I dig it.
They didn't earn the right to be close. They decided to make it 24 teams with 8 teams getting byes and 16 teams playing in a qualifying round. That's the way it is. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And again, the way things worked out, hey, I would like to have first pick,
right.
But they have 2nd pick. I'm not thinking about what could have been 7-game winning streak at that. No, that was unfortunately under the circumstances too little, too late.
Yeah. And last time we got 2nd pick, Jim, it kind of worked out for us with Dowdy, right?
That certainly did. And I'm a little old-fashioned. I understand, and every time I tweet something about it, they point out, well, it's because they don't want teams to tank. I understand that, but I'm old-fashioned. I think the draft should be reverse order of finish. Boom.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's funny too, because we remember 2 years ago, the Kings, I'm not saying that they lost out on purpose, but they lost, to end the season. And we ended up moving back. I forget how many spaces did we end up moving on the Kakko Hughes
overall pick.
Yeah, because all season we were talking about like us. We were like, oh, let's get Kakko. We're gonna get 2nd overall, and then we end up moving back, get Turcotte. It still worked out well for us. This time the season ends and we're on a long 7-game win streak. Kings fans are kind of already looking like, oh, where are we gonna draft? Where are we gonna fall? And I remember that last game in Ottawa. The last game at Staples against Ottawa, everybody was like, if the Kings win this game, we're going to move 2 spots. And San Jose is going to take our spot as the 2nd worst team. And everybody was like, do you purposely lose? Do you purposely win? As far as the fans are concerned, that's everybody, the talk of that kind of stuff. I'm sure the players, that never crosses their mind. But the fans are like, they're doing more damage. And it's weird. 7-game win streak, and we end up winning and moving up, the exact opposite of the year before. I don't know if it's the hockey gods noticing that we're not tanking right there and rewarding us in that.
Keep in mind that the year the Kings picked Drew Doughty, the Kings won the last game of the season to jump from 1 to 2. Basically, again, there was the odds and all that stuff. So
I believe that game was against San Jose, right?
It might have been. I mean, it's disappointing.
I think it was San Jose.
It was disappointing at the time, but then it turns out great. So it's all done on the ice.
And I'm glad we picked Doughty over Stamkos also.
Well, hindsight. Right?
Good call.
So speaking of draft picks, I have a question for you, Jim. So far, under the leadership of Rob Blake, how would you say, obviously the rebuild that we're currently going through, how would you say it's progressing? I know we've been #1 farm team as far as the Hockey News and all the publications are recognizing the Kings as the top prospect pool. So how do you feel Blake is rebuilding the Kings currently, and what are some of the young players that you personally are excited to see and develop and to start contributing to the Kings?
First thing I'm going to say there is this: the last time the Kings were rebuilt was Dean Lombardi. It probably started with Dave Taylor, and then Dean took over, but that was before the salary cap. There's a huge difference rebuilding or building when you have to do so with a cap versus without a cap.
Mm-hmm.
The handcuffs are on. Like when Vegas came in, I've mentioned it before. If you went to all 31 GMs right now, 32 soon, I guess 32 are in operation because Seattle does have Ron Francis.
Right.
And said to them, I'll give you the same rules that Vegas had to select the team. You have to get rid of your own team right now, gone. If this happened once every, if they couldn't happen all at the same time because then it would be diluted. But
right. I
think you'd get 32 general managers saying, I'll take that deal right now, because you get to wipe out your mistakes from the salary cap.
Yeah.
That's what you get to start with, a clean slate. Now, when Rob took over, you didn't have that. They did feel that they still had enough. That year they lost to Vegas in 4. And then the next year, Kovalchuk comes aboard, they still thought they had that one last chance. And that was not there. So now they've regrouped from there. I'll be like you. I'm not going to speak for it. I'm going to let the independent critics talk about how the Kings are doing. And everyone feels that the replenishing of the system is right there at the top, as good as anyone. So
I feel like it's been a fast time as well. It's like, I'd say the last 2 years specifically has really, revamped the Cub, changed the organization in the last 2 years. And I know like Blake has been in I wouldn't say you were saying he's in a tough situation with the cap. Like that's definitely something that was, aware. There were some contracts, there's some things that Lombardi did at the end that maybe were, I wouldn't say questionable, but he was going for it. He was trying to make that last push. The window was open, and unfortunately, I personally always loved Lombardi. He was always, I liked how he did it. I always used to love when they do the breakfast with the GMs, and where fans can ask him. And I feel like he was very open, and he was very easy to talk to as far as his overall plan and what he wanted to do. And the fact that we got 2 cups from his plan was obviously amazing. So I feel for Blake in the sense where he inherited a situation, like you said, not only the cap, but the way the Kings were structured coming off of these 2 cups, that to be able to in the last 2 years to reinvigorate the system with prospects, and now the future, our window, is much closer than it was, I feel like 2 years ago. And
well, again, yes, there's been a change in direction though.
Mm-hmm.
And you were discussing it. They thought they still had enough, and then in 1 year they realized they didn't. They had to make that complete switch, and they did so. And so there's a sacrifice to that. What you do is you sacrifice current wins, current standings. You're not going to be up in the standings, and you're going to replenish, and that's what they're doing now. So I think if you go again to the Lombardi thing, if I were to count years, I would say it took 7 years. To rebuild, and that was without a cap, where he was able to kind of just get rid of players or bring players in here and there. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, it's so much harder. So much harder.
Yeah, the league has definitely changed.
Yeah, but now a lot of the system is exactly where you want it to be. Having said that, there's still going to be some growing pains here, guys. Mm-hmm. It's still going to take a while. To me, it takes at least 3 years with a group to play together before they get to know each other and start learning how to win. And I think that 3 years is just starting next year. So, because it took a couple of years for Rob to get rid of as many contracts as he could, and probably wanted to get rid of more, but unable to. You need a taker for that. You need someone to take that. So now I think the clock to me starts with a 3-year issue of a group that has to hurt together, be punished, and then grow from that pain to become a Stanley Cup contender.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Regarding this upcoming draft, I think it's in October. I don't know if there was a set date, but I know it's after this season. Who do you think, in your personal opinion, what do you think the Kings are going to do with the 2nd overall pick? I know there's rumors they're going to trade it. I know there's rumors about Byfield and Stützle. And in your opinion, what do you think is going to happen?
I've heard every rumor in the book. It's fine. It's fine with me to have rumors. That's fine. I think that the Kings in the front office is exploring every single opportunity, every single option that's out there. They're exploring it. They're thinking about it. They're running it through everyone and saying, move up to first pick. So that's what people are saying. It's going to cost you your 2nd overall pick. What else is going to cost?
Right.
That's, again, you need the taker. You need the other team to, whoever that team is going to be, is going to be a pretty solid, because it's going to be one of those teams that come off of the qualifying round loser. So, it's not going to be a bottom dweller, so to speak. I don't have enough knowledge. I've probably seen the same footage you have on Byfield and Stutzle or Stutzel, whatever they want to call him, and I'll get the pronunciation when he gets here, if he does get here as a king or as a visiting player. I'm just going by history. I'm going by what the Kings have done, what they have, how they have won, and to me, a big number one center looks good to me. So that's what that's again, for people when they go and talk about rumors, if you don't think that the Kings have been exploring those options, they're exploring every single possible combination you could think of. Having said that, when you explore those, you need the other teams to agree, and that's a whole other thing.
I mean, going back to earlier talking about YouTube, looking at the draft or the player rankings for the upcoming draft, I end up going on YouTube and going down that rabbit hole of every Byfield highlight video and every Stutzel highlight video.
That was me.
I can't decide either.
Byfield highlights, I was all in.
That's another me feeling for Rob Blake, because I'm not out here actually scouting guys. I'm just looking at highlight videos on the internet. But I see things in both players where I could be like, man, that can really change the team for years to come, with as far as Byfield as like a dominant center, and then you see Stutzel and seeing that goal scoring ability get pumped into the Kings, in a couple of years. It's tempting as a fan on both sides. You're like, how are these guys making these calls, or even like we're saying other options.
Keep in mind how many years it took the Kings to make the playoffs after they drafted Andre Kopitar. It doesn't happen right away.
Yeah, there's a long time of developing.
It's a nice piece, and again, if you're looking at the style of a player, it's very difficult to overlook a number one center.
I agree.
My position, you probably rate, and I know that the German guy, or is he Swiss? Excuse me, Trevor.
German, yeah.
German?
Yeah.
I believe he's of German descent.
He can play both. More of a dancer, more of a skilled, more of a quickness player. But again, Byfield would be, if everything went normal and he progressed and developed like everyone would expect him to be based on his ranking, then you're looking at a 10-year player down the middle. That's going to be very difficult to handle.
Yeah, it's definitely something, obviously, to be excited about. You got to be optimistic, but like you said, a lot of little things have to be going perfect along the way, and everything has to work out to get to that point. But yeah.
Plus, he's playing in Sudbury with the Sudbury Wolves, and I grew up 8 miles outside of Sudbury in a small town called Coniston. So we saw the Sudbury Wolves play all the time. So, there's a local flavor there.
So he's a little head of them on for you. Awesome. So,
I like the goal horn.
What is that?
I was just saying, I like it was totally random. I like their goal horn. I'm digging it.
You got it, Christian. I think you're up next on this.
I want to switch it up, actually. Speaking of playing careers and such, before your broadcasting career, you played 9 years with the Kings, and I want to know, what was your favorite moment in your playing career with the Kings?
Oh, that's a difficult question.
I like to hit the heart of the question.
The biggest game, of course, was the Miracle on Manchester game.
Okay.
But, unfortunately, I look back on my playing career as very disappointing, personally and as a team. Certainly, my first year, we were 4th overall in the regular season, lost out in the first round. But we seemed to have a good year, bad year, good year, bad year, good. There was no continuity between the players year to year, change 8 or 9 players every year. In the 10 years that I was around, I missed 1 full year with injury. In 10 years, I played for 9 different coaches. So unfortunately, those are the things that stick out to me. But again, the playoff series against the Oilers and the Miracle on Manchester, and in all honesty, playing against that Oiler team was, that 85, 84, 85, 80, maybe the best team I've ever seen. That's, high quality, skilled players.
Yeah.
But with the Kings, having a chance to see the Triple Crown line early on, to play with Dave Taylor, which I will never forget. Just an honor to be on the same team as him. Larry Murphy, who was drafted the same year as me, unfortunately left the Kings due to some contract issues. And at one point ended up playing the second most games in the history of the National Hockey League. But being close friends with him, roommates with him, living across the street from him in Culver City where we used to practice, those things come to mind. And then, of course, at the end, it was Wayne Gretzky coming aboard and seeing how not only the team changed and Los Angeles changed, but to me, it was how the league and the way the other teams, the way the officials, the way the NHL front office, how they looked at us because now we had Wayne Gretzky.
Right.
That changed everything.
It's funny you mentioned the Miracle on Manchester. I was, going through old Kings highlights, over this quarantine. And one of the things that I was watching was, the Miracle on Manchester, because I've only ever seen parts. So I was watching the ending of the game, and something that I had never realized, but I thought was awesome, especially I was going to bring up now, is in the dying seconds of that game, right before it was tied, it was you who stripped the puck from Wayne Gretzky with 11 seconds left, would eventually dish it off to the game-tying goal. And I was just like, that has to be one of the coolest things
to strip Wayne Gretzky.
To strip Wayne Gretzky. And he had the puck. I mean, it was a bouncing puck, but he was trying to get under control to shoot to an open net, and you're the one to strip it from him, pass it, and score the game-tying goal with, 8 seconds left. Has to be, crazy. Just to say.
Yeah, it is. But, it's not. I understand when people bring it up. And I don't think it diminishes Wayne Gretzky's career at all.
No, it does not. It does not. It's just like it's fine, whatever.
I think a lot of people bring it up. Oh, it's good. Well, when I was the extra attacker, I jumped on for the goaltender that was pulled. My job was to go to the puck, get the puck. You know what? I'd be lying to say if I knew it was Wayne at the time. I probably did. You recognize certain things, but under those circumstances, with under 10 seconds, or you have to get the puck.
Yeah.
But puck. I like to point out too that winning the series was also important too. We ended up not only winning that game and the biggest comeback in the history of the National Hockey League in the playoffs, but winning the series and ticking off the Oilers enough where they end up winning 5 of the next 7 Stanley Cups.
and I wanted to ask you that, Jim, because that was back in the day where you guys won at the Forum. You guys had to fly back to Edmonton, but both teams shared the same plane. How was the vibe in that plane? Because now every team has their own plane, but back then teams shared planes.
Yeah, no, we didn't share planes.
Oh, okay, I thought you guys shared planes.
Oh, okay,
we did, Rico. We did share the plane that night only because of the scheduling issue that happened. And we played back to back, right? We played
right.
One game in LA, one game in Edmonton, back to back. And that was basically the only way to get both teams into that.
That must have been an interesting flight.
Normally, we would have chartered and had separate planes.
Okay.
But it was just a scheduling issue. But, it's a story a lot of people don't know, but the Oilers boarded first, and they kind of sat in the front, which was weird. And as I was walking on the plane, I grabbed Kevin McClellan and popped him a couple. I grabbed Marty McSorley and Dave Semenko and I cracked them weight down. So that the next night, no one, they didn't have enough energy to.
They knew better.
They knew it.
That's awesome.
That is great.
Marty probably wasn't around then, so I lied a little bit.
Oh yeah, for the story though. Anyway. For the story, it works. No one can fact check from inside that plane. Yeah, that's awesome. It's a funny story too. Once again, that's another once in a lifetime kind of a thing. Another interesting wrinkle into that story. And like what you said before, you ended up as a team creating the ultimate villain origin story of the Edmonton Oilers and their terror on the league for the next decade.
Yeah.
So it was our fault. That is peak Los Angeles Kings right there.
They needed to learn. It's no doubt over the next 5 years after that, again, the highest skilled teams I've ever seen.
Very true.
But they had to learn. They just had to learn that last little. And once they learned, boy, whew.
They learned.
They learned
well. So, Jim, going from player life to broadcast life, you sat most of your career alongside the great Bob Miller. What was it like to work with Bob Miller? And what was that personal feeling like during the 2012-2014 raising of that cup together?
Yeah, that's I mean, just working with Bob, I've said it many times, it is the best seat in the house. I have the best seat in the house because I get to listen to a Hall of Fame broadcaster sit right beside me. I think with Bob, and I've mentioned it before, but I think the biggest compliment I can pay him is this, professionally, is that he covered the emotion of the game appropriately. He didn't overdo it. He didn't hype things up. And when things were low, he didn't, he just was spot on with covering the emotion of the game as it was happening at that time. His flow, phenomenal. That, and then just, for people who've gotten to know Bob, his easygoing nature off the ice and his storytelling, his joke telling, that just makes it so much easier. But it was a very difficult struggle for me initially because I just was not, I wasn't any good at it. And it really took a blow to my ego and, just coming out being a professional player where, you're pretty much on top of the world. And, I had to kind of restart and start all over again. So it took me 3, maybe 5 years before I got comfortable. But then to go through all the teams and all the lessons that I had to learn there. And then, as you mentioned, in 12, 12 is the one we're always it's the first one, right? So that was, because Bob had been there a lot longer than I had. And, but I was so happy that the NHL was able to allow us to do it for the DVD.
Oh yeah, the call on 2012.
Because again, we don't call it. The locals don't call it after the first round, and that was very, very important to us, and we were able to do that. And I, I've always said, to me, the best moments are the parades. In 12 and 14, because first of all, pressure's off. You already won it.
Time to celebrate.
2 weeks, you're just going crazy because you're so nervous about what's going to happen. You're confident, but you're nervous.
Right.
And then when it's all over, and then to see the Kings fans and the generations of Kings fans able to celebrate all at the same time, that was very special. And of course, to be there with Bob and. We had a post-game show to do that after that in 12. And, as soon as the Kings, after the initial celebration, Bob says to me, we better go. We couldn't start that post-game show until he was off the air due to rights and all that. So I said, no, Bob, we're not rushed. We're going to see Gary Bettman hand Dustin Brown the Stanley Cup.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Sat there, even though we were off the air, we weren't doing anything. We were just kind of sitting around waiting. So we're going to watch that. So we watched that. And then we went down to our post-game show location, which was outside of Staples Center there, where all the statues are now. And that's when we did it. So,
right. You guys waited long enough. You had to see it.
You had to see it.
You had to see it. You waited long enough.
Now, going from Bob, Jim, to Alex, who, friend of the podcast, by the way, how was it? How did you work on that chemistry? Obviously, you have to work with someone new. You got to kind of start bouncing off each other and things like that. How was that when Alex first joined?
I believe the chemistry that you're talking about is impossible to create or manufacture. I think it just has to happen. You have to learn it. You have to go through it. I think we are just getting there now after 3 years. I think it'll take at least 5 years to build it to the point where we have a good understanding. Broadcast technical parts, Alex Faust knows more about a broadcast than I will ever know, because he grew up in that. He's gone to school for it.
Yeah.
He studied it. His wife works, for ESPN, and she's in the truck and going over. So they understand all of the technical aspects. That's what I try to help Alex with, if I can, is just how to work for a team, which is different than national or broadcast. You're with the same team all year long, even though Alex does do some NBC stuff. just getting to understand that day-to-day issue. But again, after 1 year in the league, he's already getting national assignments. I think that, once again, I'll let the independent people speak for that, and they see it. His call is completely different than Bob Miller's call. That doesn't mean it's worse, doesn't mean it's better. It means it's different. Bob learned and continued to call more of a radio call, even when he was doing TV, which is more pass, call every single thing. Alex grew up in a different generation and grew up mostly with TV, which is less descriptive because you can see it and it's just the modern day of doing it. You don't have to have the radio thing. So it's different. And again, I think that the LA Kings are in great hands with Alex. And get attention. If after 1 year, basically, then people are asking him to do national broadcasts, I think that he's caught everyone's attention.
It says a lot. Yeah, you're definitely, it's a different generation, right? Bob Miller, Chick Hearn, Vince Scully, they came from Nick Nixon, different generations of media. We're in a different world now. Like you said, that's what Alex Faust kind of grew up in. And kind of two more questions really quick, Jim. What would your advice be for someone that wants to get into broadcasting? And besides Staples Center, what was your other favorite barn to call games on?
Advice, it's something difficult for me, again, because I think it's probably better to get advice that way from the play-by-play person, because usually that person is not an ex-player. I received my job because I'm an ex-player. Mm. Now, I had to learn on the job. I didn't have any schooling. I didn't have any idea of what was going on. So you have to learn on the job. But what I would say is to watch and listen to as many sports as possible, to try to pick up different ways of doing the same thing. Because over 82 games and then playoffs, coming into a scenario, times can I tell you that Jonathan Quick is the best athlete in the world I've ever seen in goal. I mean, this guy can split, he can do whatever. But you're trying to find different ways. I mean, I see 100 saves a year that Jonathan makes that are just incredible. Well, so, and then, you know, from soccer, from golf, from baseball, you know, I'm looking at analysts. So I'm watching and listening. That's my advice to anyone, is to watch and listen. That doesn't mean steal a style from someone. You always will have your own style, be yourself. But you can also educate yourself on how to find different ways to call the same play. And hopefully if you do that, maybe you come out that way and make it happen. So I know there was another part to the question, but I forgot it by now.
What's your favorite, besides Staples Center, what's your favorite barn to call games at?
Okay, to me it would be, and it's no longer around, but it was my favorite place to play, and then ended up being, in all honesty, my favorite place to broadcast, and that was the old Montreal Forum.
Nice. Cool. Very nice.
All right. Going back to, like, you know, we're talking about the NHL back when you played. How do you think you would have fared in today's NHL, in the modern NHL, where there's no hooking, there's no grabbing, where skaters can skate and all these new style of hockey compared to old time hockey? How do you think you personally as a player would be?
Okay, first of all, size was an issue with me because I wasn't the biggest guy. And in the old days, that was an issue. I started my first year at 170 pounds. I came into my next year at 182 and probably played the rest of my career at 185, 186, because even though I was not a physical player, so to speak, as far as dishing out stuff, I had to go in the corners and I had to battle with guys that were much bigger and stronger. If I were to play today, I would not do that. I would play at 170 pounds and no one would catch me.
You'd be a Johnny Gaudreau.
That's exactly the type of player I would try to be. That's the player I was. Uh-huh. But again, different rules, different issues. But again, you know, the numbers, I was a 30 goal scorer, basically. To me, today, that equates to a 20 goal scorer. Goaltending being the number one difference. It's difficult to find room behind goaltenders now. So when I was in tight, I could score. Back in the day with those rules, it was difficult to get in tight. To get around the front of the net, they just cross-check you, hack you. It's very difficult to get there. Nowadays, I think if I could have got to that 20-foot circle around the net, which I think I would have been able to more nowadays than then, I think my hands would have been very effective in scoring some goals.
Yeah, it's always amazing to me whenever I go back and watch, old games, whenever they play, like the NHL Network has classic games, just like you're saying, the style of a guy. Like I was watching highlights of Lemieux, and like every time he has a breakaway, there's just guys hooking him and riding all the way in. And I'm just like, this would it's amazing how far the game has come in 30 years from most of these.
The rules have created a lot of this, so which is fine, but the skill level is not even close. Mario, and Gretzky, any superstar could play in any era. But if you want to talk about just flat out skill, I mean, a fourth liner nowadays is as good as a first liner back then. I'm talking skating speed, skating power, puck handling, how quick, all that stuff. The first time I saw Connor McDavid, it only took me one time, one shift. And I said, that is the highest skilled player I have ever seen.
Wow.
Ever. And that's the difference. But, thinking the game, skating fast, stick handling fast is part of it. But then how do you fit into the flow of the play? How do you fit into your line mates? Do you hit the hole at the right time? Jack Ferrara, who was one of our assistants and consultants with Dean Lombardi when he was here, he's a former general manager in the NHL also, many places. And he's got rings all over his fingers from all different levels of hockey, including the National Hockey League. But Jack, he had a saying about one player. I'm not going to mention the player's name, but he just said, no one gets to the wrong place faster than. So you can be fast, you can be quick, you can be skilled, but you've got to understand. And
would you call that the hockey sense? That's
the hockey sense, and that's something that can be debated over years. Can you teach it? I think you can watch. When I grew up, all I did was watch. I went to the rink and watched every single level of hockey. I watched for 8 hours a day. Then I went to public skating every day, and then I practiced with my team 2 or 3 times a week, and then played 2 times a week. But I watched, and that was live on TV. And I think that osmosis, you get an understanding of the game.
Yeah, well, Wayne Gretzky did say, "Don't go where the puck's at, go where the puck is going." Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's gonna
so
be.
DJ, I think you have a pretty good question based off of that.
Yeah. All right. So, what would you say? Who's your current favorite non-Kings player in the league?
Wow, that is a great question. It's going to take me some time to think about it. I mean, pure excitement, Connor McDavid. It's not even close.
Not surprised to hear Connor McDavid's name mentioned.
Yeah.
Right there.
I mean, a guy that gets me as far as just, and we have a guy on, you said non-King, but Patrice Bergeron.
Who was rumored to be a King back in 2012, right? There was that rumor of Patrice being traded for Brownie. But again, rumors.
All I know was they mentioned Brownie.
Yeah, that was back in 2012.
They mentioned the Brownie in 12. He's going to be traded. He scored a hat trick.
Yeah, hat trick and wins the cup. That's it. That inspired him.
Bergeron is a very crafty player. Again, there's a difference between McDavid and excitement, and Bergeron and efficiency. And those two guys. Cale Makar, Colorado.
Okay.
Finalist for Rookie of the Year. He's only one. This kid can play.
Yeah, he's definitely surprised this season. I agree.
He can play. And then, the fastest, the most explosive player is on the same team, and that's Nate McKinnon. Explosive, straight line, go, and just you can't catch him. And when he gets the top speed, so the game is played at you can I don't know. I need 73 hours to explain this, but the game is maybe too fast right now.
Yeah, I agree in that sense. Like, as I'm saying, sometimes when I watch, those old, like I was watching the World Cup in '96, Canada versus US. It was a classic matchup, and there's just, that what they call the North American style of hockey, and it's a lot of grinding and a lot of in the corners, and I appreciate the current NHL with being speedy and offense and these moves and stuff like that. But there's still a part of me where that old style of hockey where it's just like gritty, just like. You know what I mean? It's hard to describe it other than gritty. Like, I appreciate that too, and in some ways kind of miss that style of hockey as well.
I'll give you a little tip, guys. And I can't remember the name offhand, but it's either the year. It's either 85 or 86, I believe. It was the Canada Cup, and which was a round robin series played with all the countries, the best in the world.
Right.
Best on best.
I remember those.
It ended up into a best 2 out of 3 final between Canada and Russia. Every game ended up 6-5. You watch that series and you will see a combination of a little old school and a whole bunch of new skill. The Russians were just, and now, the hockey world has come together. North America has learned how to play with more skill. I think Europe has learned to play with a little bit more, shall we say, a little more grit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now they're coming. But watch that series. Go back, YouTube, whatever you can find it. That, to me, that's the best hockey I have ever seen. Now, I've mentioned it before. I think the 14 semifinal, Western final between Chicago and the Kings is the best series I've ever seen.
I agree.
But
that's many years off of our lives.
The one I'm talking about is best on best, country on country. And that was phenomenal hockey.
Awesome. Christian, you want to go next?
Yeah. I want to make it a little bit more lighter. I want to add, keep it in the Pacific Division, as a matter of fact. And just kind of curious, Jim. So, how does the Vegas experience now with the Golden Knights differ compared to when we had Clark County all to ourselves?
Frozen Fury.
We miss Frozen Fury, Jim.
We miss it.
We miss it dearly.
Yeah, that is a credit to Kings fans. You know what? Someone will write a book about that one day. I mean, just that experience. Really, how it grew and grew and grew and grew. And you can talk about the hockey, which was great. You can talk about the atmosphere in the building, which was great. You can talk about just so many different elements, Vegas being a party city and your ability to go down and have, gamble, have fun.
Yeah.
But just the weekends it became, sometimes there were 2 games, sometimes 1. We would tell people that this is the closest you're going to get to playoff hockey in the preseason.
Right, definitely. It was intense. It was a weird preseason intensity.
And it was a ritual for all his fans that Frozen Fury kicked off the hockey season. That was it.
I think
it was a rite of passage for me.
I think it only happened once for me, and maybe I'm just where I actually didn't have to do a game, and that was fun.
Enjoyed it even.
Come on, we got to
I ran into Jim at the MGM elevator. He was coming out of the gym, and I think I was just crawling back to like my hotel room that weekend. I was like, yeah, it was a fun weekend. Like, oh, Jim's working out, and I'm like just going to bed right now.
Yeah.
So something else, obviously, before we scheduled this interview, I'm looking up your hockey database, all your stats. I noticed you had a fighting major listed on your stats from October 21st, 1981 at the Nassau Coliseum. Okay. You against Dwayne Sutter.
Daryl's brother.
Daryl's brother. What could you tell me about this?
I scored a goal on the same. So I scored, turned around, and Dwayne grabbed me. And I didn't end up throwing any punches. I tried to wrestle. I tried to hold on. But that was basically it. It came out of nowhere. I think after I'd scored. So there was just one of those weird situations.
So
I thought I had another one along the way again against Laurie Boschman, but it might have been just a 5-minute or something, or maybe a double minor. I got maybe. Again, in both altercations, I never ended up throwing a punch at all.
so once again, going back to our YouTube rabbit hole, we ended up finding somebody uploaded old, games and old clips, and there's a clip of the fight between you and Sutter, which was interesting to see. And I definitely would agree that it seems like you got jumped.
I think if I'm correct, and hey, it's a long time ago. I think I just scored. So it was after the puck was in the net, and then maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I
those Sutters.
Did you
have you had a discussion with Daryl about that?
I have not. No, Daryl is a man of few words.
Yes, very few words. We should invite him to a podcast also.
Very interesting.
That would be a great episode.
Very interesting.
So,
because Daryl Sutter, his relationship with the media was not always great. I think, to me, that was planned by him. I think part of Daryl's plan was to unite the players against everyone else. Everyone else is an enemy. Everyone else. The only thing that's going to save you guys is to hang together here in the room. And that included the media. I talked to Daryl numerous occasions, but again, as the seasons went on, it was less and less and less. So a very difficult relationship as a local broadcaster. But the one thing I knew 100% is that Daryl Sutter's only goal was to win. And, that seems weird to say. Of course, everyone's goal is to win.
Right.
But he didn't care about hurting anyone's feelings. If that was able to get his group a better chance to win, that's what he did. Believe me, as an ex-player, I saw it, I watched it, and to a certain extent, even as a broadcaster, starts to take on that same mentality. And he is instrumental in the 2 Stanley Cup championships.
Do you think that's what ultimately led to what obviously once rumors come around that the disconnect from the team to the coaches, and there seemed like there was maybe a potential rift there or something, alienated himself from the team, the players?
Every coach has a shelf life. Every coach has a point that they're going to get to that it no longer works.
Yeah, look at Quinville in Chicago.
Well,
that was a big
with
change.
Daryl and his style, that shelf life is usually shorter than other coaches.
That makes sense.
But again, having watched him operate, again, the professional relationship as a broadcaster coach, to say I was close with Daryl would be a lie. It wasn't. I don't know if Daryl was close with many of the media. But to watch him orchestrate and put together a group of guys was extremely impressive. He was a maestro that way. And every single thing he did at the end of the day, whether it was his first year with the Kings or his he was always thinking of not that lesson might be for that individual day, but in Daryl's mind, it was always, how am I going to build a Stanley Cup champion here? That was in the back of his mind with every decision he made.
I mean, well, I guess we thank him for having that mindset. Obviously, we didn't get to really see that side of him. We take all the benefits of it, I guess, of getting to experience that. One last question as we're going to start wrapping things up. Once again, thank you for being here. This is something I always swore. I was like, if I ever get to talk to Jim Fox, I want to ask him this one question, because as a Kings fan, this is something that's always been kind of like bothering me. On March 16th,
DJ has been foaming at the
I've been wanting to know I wanted to pick your brain about this. On March 16th, 2012, Kings versus the Ducks. It was a freeway faceoff, and there was a joint kind of broadcast. And in this specific segment called Face Off with the Analysts with John Allers and Brian Hayward, it was you versus Hayward back and forth, and you guys were both debating your points and all this, depending on the question. The question asked, Allers asked, which team is closer to the cup? For those who haven't seen it or aren't familiar, I'll tell you just a quick rundown of what happened. You basically tell Brian Hayward that the next year was going to be the first year of a 3-year window. Remember, this was in 2012. So hats off to you because you got two in that 3-year span. He tells you basically that you're dreaming. And in the middle of your answer, Hayward pulls out his 2007 cup ring, and much to the chagrin of
Flashes it.
Yeah, flashes it, and both announcers start laughing. And I'll once again tip my hat to you because you stayed in. You were a professional. You didn't break. You didn't even give into it. But it's always something that I was like, taken aback from it, and more so considering later that year is the first cup for the Kings, and then much like your prediction, the Kings got another one in this window 2 years later. So, take me into your thought. Are we looking too much into this? I know this is something we've all talked about with the guys. Like, I can't believe, Hayward did that to Foxy like that. That was something that always stuck out to us. So
me and
it
DJ
upset us,
were
Jim.
at that game. Me and DJ were at that game live. So
yeah, we didn't find out until afterwards. But then we saw the internet also blowing up and reacting. So yeah,
it was a surprise to me. I didn't know about it. A lot of times you talk about, before you go on the air, you talk about things going to happen and where you're going to go with certain discussions, just so you have a framework of what's going to happen. So I didn't know about that happening. Obviously, to say I was happy about it, no, I wasn't happy about it. But I'll swear the next day when I woke up, I didn't bother me at all. It's nothing that really stuck with me. I think I went over a few points in that discussion of specific reasons why I thought. I remember at the beginning of the 11-12 season in our pregame show, preseason. You always ask I said to Patrick O'Neill, I said, well, this, da-da-da, 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 da-da-da. I said, the Kings are not the favorite, but I would not be surprised if they win the Stanley Cup. I said that live on air. Now, the reason I said that was because I've been around the team a long time. I've seen many rosters and the configurations of many rosters. And that year, I felt it was the first time that all the pieces were there.
I agree.
Now, they needed to add Jeff Carter.
That's what they did.
It didn't happen until later that year. I made that statement before Carter was on the team. But they needed to add some things. But I saw pieces that I'd never seen before. And
I think we added Cartsy a couple weeks later or something.
Well, I think it was a little bit mid-season, if I'm not mistaken, because that statement I made was preseason. So I don't know.
Oh, okay, that's what you're referring to. Okay,
yeah,
I'm thinking of the
Hayward thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I thought the construction of that team was impressive, and Dean. Again, I like to give a little credit to Dave because, Quickie and Kopi and Brownie were all picks of Dave Taylor. But, Dean Lombardi and Daryl Sutter and then that group of players really, really put it together.
So wasn't it great to see Dave Taylor get his first cup last year, Jim?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Getting that.
No, I was in Hawaii at the time. At the Kapalua Food and Wine Festival. And just happened that we flew back on the same day as the game. And with about 10, I was working with my computer all flight long, trying to pull it down and I was finally able to get a feed about the last 10 minutes of the game. And that was, Dave, he was, again, part of the architecture of the Kings Stanley Cups, but now he gets one that he can, it's his team at that time, at that moment. And there are very few players that embody hockey and what hockey means from that skill and physicality aspect, both. And I think Dave personifies that. I think he had all the ingredients. And then, as you guys know, along with being one of the nicest people in the world, you have that all together in one, and to see him win it, we were cheering. My wife and I were on the plane, and we're going crazy, and just so we had that opportunity.
Made that wine festival extra nice, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And then, And on an aside to that too, well, Larry Robinson, of course, was a member of the staff there too, and he was a consultant with St. Louis, so he ended up getting, I think, his 11th Stanley Cup. So
Larry's got a bunch of them.
The other end of the spectrum.
So speaking of that, the wine fest, as you're sipping on some Patenay cellars, I'm assuming. So what would you rather live your life, without hockey or wine?
Tough one, Jim.
Last targeting question right there for me.
The hockey is closer to the end of the road. And wine is something you can do your entire life.
There you go.
Hockey will never be out of my life, ever. And I only came into wine probably halfway through my life.
Okay.
So, I always, people ask me why, as a professional player, the bottom line is, and it should be this way, I'm not complaining about it, I'm just trying to contrast the two different lives I've been able to live.
Right.
In pro sports, it's all about the final score. They don't care how you get there.
Right.
Win or lose. And at the end of each night, you actually have a report card. And that report card is the final score. Some nights you play well and you lose. Some nights you play bad and you win. But the final score is there. It's black and white. And that's my personality. Wine takes me somewhere that isn't black and white. That it probably has more to do with the entire process and journey than it does to do with the final score. There's so many things in hockey too. There's a lot of things that lead up to process and execution and game plan. But wine is more gray area. And it's something in my life I never experienced before. I was too black and white. Now I think wine gives me something that is a process. It's science, but there is also a little art involved.
Okay.
Just a little bit of that in-between nuance that when you get a chance, in my opinion, to taste a great wine, it affects my life. It's something I will never forget.
Okay.
But hockey will never go away, ever.
All right.
That'll when I was growing up, 2 years old skating, and you do everything. I used to drop something in the kitchen, and my mom used to say to me, "You would not have dropped that if you had your skates on." Hockey was such a big part of my life. That'll never go away. But I'm so glad that I was able to experience that. So glad I was able to experience 2 Stanley Cups, even if I wasn't a player. I was around that group, and let's hope here in the next little while a chance again to get back and get that feel again.
Yeah, let's get back to normal. Yeah. Thank you, Jim, for joining. Any last messages for our fans out there, all the Kings fans out there?
Well, again, thanks for your loyalty over the years. Thanks for hanging in there. Thanks for being able to be around to celebrate 2 Stanley Cup championships. Understand that the prospects do look good and all the reports look great, but it's not going to happen overnight. It's not. If it does, I'll take it.
I'll take it. I'll take it too. Yeah.
But there's a process here, and I think the process is more difficult under the salary cap than it was without the cap. But I think now we're getting a feeling, and you had a 2nd overall pick now. You're getting a feeling now that these holes, and as Dean Lombardi used to say, the boxes, right? Fill those boxes.
On the charts, right?
Yeah. 9 forward. You got a bottom.
I think he also threw in like a New York Yankees reference in there somewhere.
Yes. Well, Dean was just a student of. He was a student of military, and he was a student of baseball. And Dean was an innovator and a pioneer in hockey as far as development. In baseball you have a rookie ball, single A, double A, all, and the way they approach their skill development, hockey didn't have that before. Now every team has a development department. The ex-players that get on the ice with the young kids, go LA, go to Ontario. Every team does that right now. And I think Dean LeBoy is the guy to start that.
Speaking of that, I feel like we're talking about the prospects. The Ontario Reign, I feel like, are going to be a hot ticket for the next couple of years as well, because we got so much to look forward to down there. I know Kings fans are excited. I'm excited. I want to thank you again for spending this hour with us today on our podcast. It means a lot. We're all lifelong Kings fans and lifelong fans of not only you as a player but as a broadcaster. So it definitely means a lot to us that you're able to take time today to be with us.
Guys, my pleasure. I see you guys around all the time, and you gotta stick with the process. You gotta stick with the plan. We know that if you have a lot of patience, when it does happen, there's nothing like it.
Very true. Very true.
Yes. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate
Pleasure,
it,
guys.
All right. Take care, Jim.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, Jim.
Bye, Jim. Right. Guys,
archive footage of Jim Fox.
How awesome! How awesome was that, guys?
That was phenomenal.
That was great.
So
the man joined us.
now
we have Josh Bustos.
Oh, who is this guy? Get the hell out of here!
God,
you can't replace greatness with Josh.
Now, not Jim Fox. We got Josh Bustos for those watching who aren't familiar.
I'm logging off.
Screw this man.
What did I miss, guys?
Oh my God.
Bustos, you missed the craziest interview. Jim Fox was here.
Oh my God.
Bustos, what's going on in baseball right now? What's going on with the Marlins? Fill us in. You're the baseball expert.
Marlins, I mean, they have 11 players who has Doronas.
The whole team is white. The same pitcher's got to pitch every day.
I know.
Watch all of our viewers right now that were tuning in for Jim Fox are like, oh, they're talking about baseball.
Screw this. That's not a sport.
See, aren't you glad though? Baseball's back a little bit.
See, what's interesting?
No, I'm happy. Definitely happy.
What's interesting though is NBA, MLS.
And Tommy loses the Zoom link. Look at this crap.
Wow. Oh, is he going to jump in? Those guys are playing in a bubble. Baseball isn't playing in a bubble.
Tommy, check the Facebook Messenger.
Baseball's playing at home, and now they have the biggest outbreak as far as in sports in 2020 on a team level, on a team scale. I mean.
And the Dodgers are going to a hotbed right now in Houston.
Are there problems with the Astros? Are any guys?
No, with the whole city.
In the city in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because like we're saying, baseball was the only one who didn't choose the bubble option out of all the leagues restarting, and it seems like they're gonna have a potential doomsday scenario. What am I hearing an echo?
You had one
Tommy,
job, Tommy.
Turn your
one job.
Down. Jesus.
I know. One job, Tommy.
Jeez. All of a sudden,
this man.
Jim Fox leaves, and then all the riff-raff comes
and everything falls apart
everything.
when Fox leaves. Everything falls apart.
TV right now. That's why, because I was watching you guys on a big screen TV.
Wow.
Stunning high definition. You get to see my sketchy beard in stunning high definition.
We're talking about the
Miami
virus.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The Miami Coronas.
Okay, Bustos, tell me what's going on.
So, Dodgers.
Don Mattingly has managed to screw the Dodgers out of another World Series.
And what's the funny about this? The Marlins are actually leading the NL East right now.
But we're saying, of course, it's the most Don Mattingly thing ever to stop the Dodgers from winning a championship.
If they pause the season.
Yeah. If was there a rumor that there's guys on the Phillies who had it? Was that confirmed?
Well, they want to get tested just in case they
don't spread out. They postponed
tonight's
the
game
tonight
between the Yankees and the Phillies.
Oh, that's what it was.
Since they canceled the Bustos and say they don't play, what is it, a 2-game series or a 3-game series?
They were supposed to play a 2-game series, but they played back. It was supposed to be a 2-game series in Philly, and the next 2 games in New York. But we'll see what happens. I don't know why you can't play a doubleheader in New York to make up the game.
Do you think if they cancel it completely, are they going to make it up at the end of the season?
No.
Like no playoff implications for the Marlins at all? You're just counting them out?
I think it might go by percentage. That's what I've been rumbling.
That's what Booster's been rumbling off the percentage.
I mean, this is not surprise. I was talking to someone I know who has some baseball connection, was saying the odds of the season of someone without the virus are like 0.0%, and you wouldn't be surprised if the season somehow stops.
You guys, we forgot to shout out our sponsors. I don't want to do it when Jim was here, but now that we got time, let's get with it. First and foremost, rumor has it that if you go to hooligansports.net, you enter the promo code podcast. All right. Supposedly, this is a rumor. If you use the word podcast, you get 10% off of your next order.
What's with that LAFC one?
That is a terrible Hecho in Los Angeles shirt.
Can
That's
you
like
guys
a Tommy
I'm just
would wear.
throwing this out there. I know, we're company men, but I gotta get my grievances out there. That is an awful shirt.
I'm going on strike.
Can I mute your guys' microphones? I'm just trying to do the ads, guys. I don't need this. I don't need this every time.
I don't need this.
I need the slander.
Also, don't forget, shout out to Rose Cremation Service in Bellflower, California. Complete cremations for $995. I know there's a lot of crazy stuff going on right now. It's a family-owned business.
Is that the coupon code?
That's yeah. You just call them, let them know. I saw on the Hooligan podcast that it only costs $995, and they're gonna be like,
do you have to be alive to say that though, or can like?
No, come on.
It's a very killer deal.
wow.
Ugh, come on.
Straight fire deal, bro.
Wow, I can't take you guys anywhere.
It's a real burner.
I can't take you guys anywhere. And
Next.
last but not least,
Think
shout
about
out.
tomorrow. Today.
Yeah, he said it on the Big Nick's ad, but yeah, Rose Cremations, don't forget. And last but not least, Big Nick's Pizza in San Pedro, California. Shout out to them. If you haven't been there, check them out. Delicious pizza.
Get the hot wings.
Rico, you're the expert on this one.
Yeah.
Get everything there. Get everything.
My
there,
mouth
man.
is
It
watering
is
right now
so
looking
good.
at this commercial.
It is so good. I also want to give one quick shout out to this up and coming website. It's called BeyondTheMorningSkate.com. They do very good sports, hockey related articles on it. So go ahead and check them out.
Yeah, definitely check those guys out. They were showing us some love as setting up the Jim Fox, getting word out and stuff like that. So we appreciate that.
Stephen Lill in the comments is wondering, does Big Nick's deliver to Bellflower? Asking for a friend.
Are you in Bellflower, Stephen Neal? We're gonna have you come through.
You know what? If you go to the Grubhub app, I think they do.
Yeah.
I think some random guy will pick it up for you or girl and drop it off to your Bellflower.
Better tip them very well, Stephen.
Hey guys, LAFC is winning 2-0.
Hey, Tommy,
Yeah.
shut up.
Why do I gotta Why do you guys
Tommy,
just want me to
shut-
end this episode right
Tommy,
here?
Shut your mouth.
Hey, Tommy, don't you have a baby to put to sleep?
I hear Zach crying in the back. You should go tend to him.
I haven't been off of work this early for a while. Let me
Well, go back to work.
UPS called. They need you.
go order.
Go get that hazard pay.
Okay, so let's talk about
All right, guys.
All right, guys.
let's talk about the Dodgers. I mean, look good the first two games, and then what happened the
No,
last two
Dodgers.
games?
You can't win them all, man. I know it's a short season, but they did look good those first two games.
They embarrassed them
I
so
will
much
give
the
them
first two games that they
yeah.
angered them the last two games.
We are still a threat this year.
They felt sorry for the
I'm
Giants.
honestly shocked that we managed to get a 2-game split against the Sacramento River Cats posing as
No,
the San Francisco Giants.
No, honestly, Saturday and Sunday, if you guys notice, Wood and Urias, they both struggled right out the gate. Right
Wood
out
especially.
Yeah, Wood really
Wood had a
bad.
struggling day on Saturday.
Yeah, Wood looked horrible.
He wasn't on that Otani level, but yeah, for sure.
And he wasn't throwing one-on-one.
At least Alex got some outs.
Right. I don't know if you guys saw Shohei made his debut from Tommy John surgery. Was it yesterday? Day before yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday.
No, yesterday, yeah.
Yesterday failed to record a single out, meanwhile getting 5 earned runs in the process. And a guy who was normally throwing 101 is throwing around 93, 95. That's definitely something interesting. I know we don't talk Angels much, but I just thought that was something.
He's throwing 93
newsworthy.
90. That's still fast.
I mean, that drop off from where he was at 7 miles an hour is. Ooh.
So you guys are not worried, right? I know fans are worried about this first 4 games. I'm not
I
worried.
can't take this guy nowhere.
You know what? I feel like after Friday,
You know who's not worried? Harold Baskin. That too.
I think after Friday, they kind of like I was telling DJ, they took their foot off the pedal. They kind of relaxed and it bit them in the butt. And the Giants gave them a hard time.
River Cats. The Sacramento River Cats.
You know what?
Basically.
But let's see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow and Wednesday are 2 big games that hopefully they don't let their emotions get the best of them.
All right, your guys' opinion on this. Are the Dodgers immediately throwing out the Astros tomorrow? Because
Yes, I hope so.
Is it going to be that obvious? Is it going to to be like right away,
Yeah.
first guy up, he's getting beamed, or is it going to be something
that-
later in the game?
They might get thrown out during batting practice.
Straight to the head.
Bustos,
I'd like it, but honestly, I want the dub in the box score.
Bustos, do you think is there any Vegas odds as far as a bench clearing brawl or anything along those lines tomorrow? Is that something people
I don't know.
they bet on?
The FanDuels yet?
Yeah, is that something people bet
That'll
on?
probably come out tomorrow.
Bustos,
Hey.
put money on it.
They're gonna start throwing balls at them in pregame warm-ups. Like, oh, I'm sorry.
And batting practice.
Yeah, just freaking all early on every.
I mean,
I'm just saying I wouldn't be mad if Walker Buehler on his 26th birthday, which is tomorrow, by the way. Happy early birthday, Walker Buehler, my favorite pitcher on the Dodgers.
Friend of the podcast.
Friend of the podcast.
Friend of the podcast. I'm just saying if he throws a 100 mile an hour fastball to Alex Bregman's Nutley region, I won't be mad.
No.
How many innings are we gonna use Bueller tomorrow?
Give me the win.
No, I want the dub then. I want the win.
Why not both? Why
You can do both.
Why not both?
Yeah.
Just because they get hit doesn't mean they can't win.
Okay,
Give me the win first.
If
I don't want to give him a chance.
Bueller first pitch hits Bregman, is the ump gonna throw him straight out because they're gonna
Right?
Hold on, Noah Syndergaard. He said, "No, you're done.
Probably.
You're done."
Look what they did to Syndergaard.
Throw it behind his back.
Yeah, look what happened to Syndergaard. He threw it behind Ellie's back and got tossed. First
Yeah.
batter.
What if he just accidentally says the ball slipped out of his hand and throws it straight into the dugout?
It'd be the worst lie ever, but worth it.
It'll be Fauci-esque first pitch throw.
Fauci. What happens if somebody can just like every single pitch foul him off into the dugout?
Why don't you just walk up to him and cough on him?
No.
Wow.
Oh, come on. Okay, guys.
All right, guys. Who can we?
knock it out.
What?
The
Who
show's
can we,
over, guys.
who can we acquire from the Marlins
What?
by tomorrow to put into the lineup?
No, guys, this is a better one. What if every swing the bat just automatically comes out of their hand and straight into their dugout?
All right, call Gavin Lux back up. I saw the other day. Just kidding, Gavin.
No,
Friend of the podcast.
all joking aside, though, the thing I would love the most right now would be the Dodgers to absolutely, like, in a copycat of Thursday and Friday night's games against Sacramento, just to have an offensive onslaught, and then somewhere down the line when we're up 11 or 12-0 on the Astros,
There we go.
just
Hit-
plunk the
you know,
guy.
Just keep
You
hitting
think-
guys until it's like 11-12, and then start playing for real again.
You think the Dodgers have a fire?
Wow. You see this?
No,
guy?
because
That is a lovely background, Rico, I might add.
they're getting embarrassed. They got embarrassed by the Giants on Saturday and Sunday. So you think like, hey, we're gonna face a good Houston team.
I don't think Saturday wasn't necessarily an embarrassment. It was one of those things where it got out of hand, but they did mount a comeback.
Alex Wood didn't pitch well. That's plain and simple. And Santana.
I'm referring to it as an embarrassment because they knew they were the better team. They knew they could have beat them all 4 games, and I feel like they just took it too lightly after those 2 beatdowns.
I was lagging earlier and not looking at the comments on YouTube. I didn't realize there were so many comments, but right now, Stubbs just wrote, has there ever been a game where every player was hit by a pitch?
No.
Intentionally or unintentionally?
I think that's the homie Chris Newton, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Chris.
That'd be pretty hilarious.
Didn't that happen on Naked Gun or something like that?
Hey, that's what spring training's for.
If
Didn't
it,
that happen?
if it hasn't happened yet, maybe it can happen this week.
Yeah.
Tuesday,
Who knows?
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Right.
Oh,
I mean,
what's
up, Bustos?
I just
Bustos-
want.
Bustos is
No.
crying again.
Oh.
I just want the Dodgers bats to wake up, especially Mookie and Cody, because they didn't have a good first 4 games.
you know what though? I feel like Mookie feels like he has so much pressure on him. He needs to just
But
relax.
Yeah, just relax, man. Just play your game.
he did make one amazing play in the first game that led the Dodgers to victory in the 7th inning, where he slid into home on a ball. I don't think 99% of the players would have been out at home, but he found a way to be safe.
Yeah, they said his time to home was like 3 seconds, and the MLB average is 5. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That was one of the most amazing plays, and he's such a good defensively. So he hits a little slide, but I would like to see him hit a little better. And he looked a lot better last night, but then got a little unlucky in the hits.
How long does this until this becomes the main storyline? If say Mookie is struggling out the gate, how many people are going to be, talking about the contract, talking about all that?
Well, I think everyone will have bigger expectations, but if he just bats 270, 280, gets on base and drives in enough runs, I'm not complaining because he plays such a great defense and such a great base runner. He's going to make up those runs on those side of the ball.
Look, guys,
Bustos, are the woman that we're battling for affections with is in the
Jesus
comments.
Christ.
Hi, Alma.
Can't get through one episode. Just one
Christian.
You jumping the gun, and I'm praying to God this doesn't happen, but Mookie Betts doesn't become an Andrew Jones 2.0.
Why are you putting that out there? Why you
we don't
like
speak that name ever again. How dare you?
Because, man, I feel like
it's been 12 years and I'm still angry over that. Damn it.
Hard. Like, he's just not, like, playing, like, his ball.
But it's still early. He struggled early last year.
If Mookie showed up like 25 pounds heavier than he was last season, I don't remember how off
Andrew Jones was. Can I point out this is still on site for me for Andrew Jones?
You know what, though? You know what's kind of crazy is how the lineup has been in the last, this series. You never would see Corey Seager bat like 6 or 7.
Oh,
yeah. And it's just like, I don't understand.
And he's hitting the ball really well right now.
But it's kind of weird to see Muncy leading off, though.
Yeah. I get why they're doing it, but yeah, it's still weird. I know that they're doing the left, right.
Yeah.
But
and the big surprise too is Gavin Lux didn't make the roster.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually, Alma just pointed that out right now in the comments. She's upset.
And actually, it was the right call.
Yeah.
Kiki's hitting awesome. Chris Taylor's hitting the ball hard. There was no way Lux was going to get any playing time.
Ever since Christian took that picture with Lux, it's just not the same. Not the same guy.
I mean, what happens though if everyone in Miami and was it Philly that's playing gets the Rona? Is the season just over?
Yeah, is that the doomsday scenario right there?
Is that it for the whole season?
If it's
just is that they're only relegated to the National and American League East zone.
No, they get relegated to AAA.
They probably go to MLS road and just quit the season.
It's like every game forfeited?
Or something. Or they don't play the games.
Or do they bring like their minor league players?
I mean, the other big news from
the
the situation since we were last on, they added more playoff spots.
Also, very true. Going off of what Rico just said, I feel like that's the premise of like a Disney feel-good sports movie. Like the whole team gets sick with the Ronas. They call up all the minor leaguers. They go on some Cinderella run and win a championship.
Yeah, they're like the champs.
Yeah, they end up winning. They end up winning out.
They are leading the NL East right now.
Baseball version of the replacements.
Literally. I mean, I feel like crazier things.
Tommy really is watching us on his big screen.
Yeah.
Is that what we look like on TV?
Yeah, look at that handsome guy.
Ooh. So serious.
Hey,
oh, God, no. Yeah. Giving the people what they want.
So, I mean, yeah, Gavin Lux was definitely a surprise.
You want to watch SpongeBob?
I feel like I know they never released why he was gone, but I mean, everybody's speculating. Yeah, it's obvious. Everyone was speculating why he was gone, and honestly, he just didn't look the same when he came back. He seemed kind of lethargic, and he wasn't in.
You think he's got the Ronas?
That was the rumor. They never confirmed it, but he did. He joined the team late.
Like the AJ Pollock situation. Why was AJ Pollock
or like
late?
Jensen, right?
Jensen, why was he late?
And Baez, right? Didn't Baez join late?
Yeah.
Man. See, I mean, everybody's dealing with it themselves, and it sucks. But at what point does it cancel the baseball season? At what point? How many guys get hurt? How many teams lose players before they're like, you know what? We're just going to scrap this. And once again, we're robbed.
I think it's going to take a big breakout for multiple teams for that to happen. I think they're really to sacrifice one team. They maybe even really to sacrifice 2 teams. But I think if it's like 4 or 5 teams that break, like the whole team breaks out, that's when they'll start canceling the season.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna do all they can to have.
Can I point out how stupid the Miami Marlins organization truly is? The players took a team vote in text messages on Sunday. Should we play or not? Despite the fact that they had so many people, caught with coronas.
Well,
they decided to play anyways.
They didn't have that many people positive on Sunday, though. They only got 4 at the time. So how do you know the other 7 people were positive after they got that
But
test?
still, the fact of the matter is that you have, like 3 active players.
Then that means
they still decided to go with it.
Okay, that means then baseball shouldn't be happening right now with all these active players on the team. With the drivers.
Stephen Leal said he had them Lou Williams chicken wings.
Oh, that's another story. We gotta talk about later.
Oh, let's talk about it right now. Oh my God, Lou Williams, you stupid idiot.
Let's talk about that later.
Let me thrive. I rarely talk about basketball, but I'm getting mine.
I didn't even know. Oh, go ahead.
Go for it.
So for those who don't know, Lou Williams, a guard for Clippers guard Lou Williams, one of the guys who's helping contribute to them being a playoff contender. That had an excuse to leave the NBA bubble in Orlando to attend to a family matter in Atlanta, Georgia, and on the way back, he decides, you know what?
Pit stop.
I'm gonna go get me some chicken wings over at Magic City in Atlanta.
Which is
Magic City is not known for. Magic City is not known for.
I've read people love their chicken wings.
Or they got good chicken wings there, especially the ranch.
I mean, yeah, they may have some really good chicken wings, but I mean, I've heard that place, in plenty of music videos on BET Uncut back in the day, and they do a lot more than chicken wings at that spot.
Yeah, for those who aren't familiar, what is Magic City?
Magic City is a strip club
that happens to serve chicken wings.
Strip club.
They got good chicken wings, man.
That just happens to have chicken wings.
That just happens to have some really, really good lemon pepper chicken wings, named after Lou Williams.
I'll take an order of the Lou. I'll take Williams 12-piece.
Just bring them to the champagne. Just bring them to. Let me get some Lou Will lemon pepper wings and bring them to my champagne room. We got them. All right. No, Lou Williams, like an idiot, was caught taking the picture in Magic City from a fan. I don't see no chicken wings anywhere in the picture. I might add.
And
I might have ate them.
I'm also surprised that he would even let a fan take a picture, knowing he's sneaking around the strip clubs. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand.
Anyways, Lou Williams is a dummy, so he's in the middle of a 10-day quarantine as he comes back to the bubble.
He's not missing much, so.
Busto's glasses started fogging up again.
Hey, Busto.
He's like, I want to go to Magic City.
So those Miami Marlin players that all tested positive, 14 plus, including those coaches, do they have symptoms, or they were all asymptomatic and just tested positive?
As of right now, they're all asymptomatic.
We know what you mean.
Yeah.
Bustos, you've only been in on this episode for like 20 minutes, and you're already like, Bustos, what do you think about the new extra innings rule about starting extra innings with a runner on second?
Well, this may win you a date with Alma. Go. Answer the question.
Answer correctly.
The first game we were watching between the Angels and the A's was a snooze fest.
It was cool. There's a grand slam that ended the game.
Yeah, but really,
Matt Olson, first baseman.
How bad of a hittings were they where no one tried to move the runner over? The runner.
Yeah. Well, because the Angels.
Ohtani messed up.
I mean, the Angels gave that away. I mean, come on. That was just.
I'm okay with that as an A's fan.
That was just ugly. That first, I can't be a judge of it because it was just ugly the first time I saw it.
Yeah, we had our fantasy pick'em for opening day going on, so I was unusually invested in that game, so much so that I actually watched an Angels and an A's game. That's how you know I was.
Yeah, and X wins again.
DJ, now you know how I feel from an A's perspective.
I'm just like,
I need this dub.
No, I think I had the Angels picked, honestly. I was rooting for the Angels. One of the rare times in my life that I was like, come on, Ohtani, what you doing, bro?
You lost. Wrong, DJ.
I know, I picked wrong.
Hey,
well, we all sucked. Me, DJ, and Christian.
What are you talking about? I came in third.
He was there.
We didn't win.
Hey,
but I was pretty accurate on my.
Everyone else was tied after that, right? Or pretty sure.
Kind of.
We sucked. X wins again. So
yeah, one of the friends of the podcast, Xavier, ended up winning. Tommy came in second, and Christian got third.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Christian came in third, and then
Getting
the rest
tired
of
of
us.
X winning all these damn pick'ems.
That's the second league in a row that he's beat all of us.
We need to stop. We need to stop including him in the picture.
The worst part is he actually does know about football. Like he knows his football, but baseball, he just randomly he went the Kristen technique on it, and he was just choosing random teams. And
he picked the Miami Marlins to beat the Philadelphia Phillies. Enough said, and then Philadelphia Phillies lost to the Miami Marlins. Go figure that out.
And he up at one point he was like 14-0 or 14-1. We were like, dude, you could have like cleaned up if you would have bet in Vegas or something like that.
Yeah, I was saying, can you make my picks for me for the rest of the season?
Hey, Josh.
Hey, Deej, we should do it for the opening weekend of hockey too.
Let's do it. I'm down.
I mean, we could actually technically do it where we pick the winners of the series.
Or we'll just do once a week, like everyone choose Saturday. We'll do like every Saturday game and then add up all the points.
Or every Sunday night game.
Because there's only 60 games, so you figure we're only going to get 6 picks.
Yeah, but we should do it for $5 a head though, not for free.
I'm done.
We're doing it for fun, Tommy. We always have to do
Bustos
it.
Let's make some money off
bragging rights.
Bustos is funding this, by the way. He's going to put $5 for everybody.
He still owes us the damn PlayStation.
Well, I keep on
Where's that PS5, Bustos?
Well, I keep on losing, so you're not getting it no more. I can't make a prediction on baseball, anything right now. So,
hey Rico, when you email Jim Fox and ask him my question for me, okay, please? I was just left out. That was sad.
Yeah, no, we were running out of time, dude. I was trying to push that. Definitely.
We started skipping questions.
There's a lot of questions. Yeah,
for those who aren't know, we're gonna give a little behind the scenes here. We actually were like so excited about having Jim Fox on the show.
We had like 4 more questions.
We had prepared like questions and notes and all this stuff. We never do this. Usually we were saying we show up for a podcast and sometimes like 5 minutes before the show we're going over headlines again. Like, all right, what are we gonna talk about? All right, what are we gonna do about this?
Now?
Yeah, what are we gonna do?
What we're doing now? We still unprepared.
We literally just wing it.
We'll just be like.
I actually had a midnight meeting last night about this.
As Tommy would say,
never done that before.
Tommy told us that this is Bustos' dream episode, basically.
Yeah, we were prepared.
It really was
preparation in this episode.
And he wasn't even.
Josh off camera was crying tears of joy during the interview.
Josh didn't even send us.
and DJ had.
Josh didn't even send us the questions from the chat. He was gonna send
right.
Well, I even wrote the questions.
We wouldn't have had a time though. That hour went by quick.
Yeah, and if you asked us a question and we missed it in the first hour, blame.
There were some questions that were answered that were like asked kind of like not realizing it by people in the chat, and I lost my train of thought, but just know it happened.
No, that
comments right now.
That he has wine in. I was like, bro, like, oh my god.
Yeah, before the show, he's like, I'll go grab a glass of wine. We're like, yeah, dude, go grab it.
No, he was like, can I drink on the show? We're like, yeah, dude, go grab your wine.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, Tommy has always a beer during the live episodes.
Yeah, Foxy did not.
And then
care at all.
when YouTube hits us with the warning, they're like, Jim Fox was drinking on your guys' show, demonetized. And we're gonna be like, nah, just kidding. Can you imagine though? They're that thorough, or they're just like, was that a glass of wine?
Well, like that wasn't even Jim Fox. That was his
that was Bustos.
It was fruit punch in a wine glass.
Wow, that's why you're cranky right now, Bustos.
Oh, this guy's been drinking.
This guy, you can't drink with him. He takes a thimble of beer and he's done.
Hey, speaking of Ronas, guys, 0 cases in the NHL right now.
Yeah, like Foxy was talking about.
Along
0
with
cases.
MLS is at 0 and NBA?
NBA is at 0.
That's what I'm saying.
MLS
and the Hooligan cast. 0 Ronas. 0 Ronas for the Hooligan cast. Yeah. Now STDs, that's a different story.
Wow.
But anyways, no Ronas. No Ronas.
As we can learn, the teams, if you want the season, you need to be in the bubble.
Yeah, the bubble works. As weird as it is, the bubble's working.
Now the question is, what is the NFL going to do? They're like watching the MLB right now to see how are they going to proceed with the season.
Wow. I mean, it'll be interesting if MLB ends up getting a crazy spike and we lose the season before football even starts. How much time do they need to go under a bubble format of football? Because everybody plays on the same day at the same time. You know?
And does the schedule change?
Right.
Yeah, keep watching.
Do we get a new schedule?
I'm sure there's some type of emergency contingency plan in place, but it'll be interesting to see how they go about it because they still, I mean, the time's running out, obviously, but they technically still do have time.
teams are going to training camp next week. The rookies have reported this week.
But there'll be no preseason games.
No preseason games.
And then they were talking about too. They're going to try to make either a new face mask or a new mouth guard for players, so they could either kind of be safe. But then you have a lot of players like, you're going to make us a new mouth guard, but here we are hitting each other. It kind of, you know? So, like, but you know what? I was gonna write this in the comment section for Jim Fox. What do you think the NHL is gonna do about players getting in fights, or they can condone it completely, like break it up as soon as it happens?
Make it like Olympic hockey, where there's any type of fighting, you get kicked out or you're suspended.
What happens if you start coughing on someone?
You know how there's always scrums at the end, or like, you know, getting too close to the
face
goal.
wash. No face washes this year.
Yeah, but
especially during playoff hockey.
Yeah, like it's kind of gonna be like, if they do it, it's kind of be boring. Like no face washing, no nothing. Like what's gonna happen?
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see how they go about that. Especially like we're saying, playoff hockey, it's known for being physical. It's known to being like a lot of post-whistle scrums and a lot of that kind of stuff going on. Everybody's in everybody's face. You can't really social distance when everybody's crashing the net right there. And you know what I'm saying? Like, that'll be interesting. But I'm still excited to see it. I don't know if you guys saw they released the pictures of how the arenas are done up for the playoffs with like the stands. There's like a lot of video boards and it's all covered. It honestly looks really cool. It looks cool.
And did you like the virtual thing the Fox did on Saturday with the stadium?
It was weird.
It's weird. It looked.
They were doing fine until they decided to do the wave, and I'm like, no,
that was weird.
Honestly, if I had to blame
something about hockey games,
I hate the wave in general, man.
Especially the video game wave, and it's funny because when they imposed the fans, the digital fans over the seats, you could still see the ads like in the pavilion, like covering the aisleways and stuff. So it looks like these fans are standing on. Bustos, what you doing, bro?
What are you doing, Boosty?
I'm stretching.
Wow.
Stretching what?
My legs.
If we would have done that, he would have hit us with a "Come on, guys!" so fast.
Right?
Come on, guys. Mute your mic.
Come on, guys.
Come on, is that your hamstrings you're showing?
He has his mic.
Oh, man.
But you guys, that was a solid episode. It was awesome having Jim here, having him spend an hour with us, letting us ask him some questions. It was definitely cool asking him about Hayward, dude, because I'm telling you, I was like, for so long, I was like, annoyed?
He seemed upset about that, you know?
Right? Yeah, like he obviously
came out. He was pretty pissed about that. We again, that's why we asked questions, because we didn't know how he felt. He's such a nice guy overall. So he's gonna play everything off, but to actually get him saying he was, even though he
was caught like he wasn't expecting it. Oh man.
Yeah.
Also,
he said he was upset.
Another interesting tidbit is when we were asking him about the second overall pick,
he kind of gave some insight there.
He kind of said like when the Kings, well, I don't know if I'm messing up the wording, but he basically said if the Kings were to take Stützle, but the way he worded it was almost like if they already were going to take him, and we kind of like. We were like, wait, what? Did he
We're messaging each other in the background like, did Foxy give some insight on the strategy?
Was that a scoop right here? Is it?
Did we just screw it up for the Kings, bro?
Right?
It's like great.
We're going to use this to later on. Like, look,
he said,
called it.
King's Dynasty gets killed by local podcasts.
But he said you can't go wrong with either pick, basically. Either play right now.
And he's right about that. And it's he even mentioned like so much has to go right for these guys to pan out regardless that we could for years to come we'll be like saying did they make the right pick, the wrong pick, whatever, but that's obviously everything in every sport. We'll see. It's excited regardless. I'm glad that we got the second pick, but yeah, going back to Foxy, it's awesome that he was able to spend some time with us, drink a glass of wine with the boys. You guys can now say that you went wine tasting with Foxy, even though none of us had wine.
Hopefully, it's the start of game. More guests. Or working on that.
Drink. Next is Vin Scully.
Bustos, make it happen.
Yeah, I don't know Vin.
Well, you know who I want to get, but none of you guys want him on here.
Oh
who do we want? Who do you want?
I can't say it. Like
say it.
I know you want.
I'm not gonna say it. Let's just end this podcast.
I just realized it. No.
He's too controversial.
I'm not even gonna make that joke. I'm not even gonna make that.
No,
Okay,
we're
we'll
not
save it for
going
another
there.
episode.
All right, guys.
Yeah, come on, guys. I'm gonna watch TV now. Let's go.
Everything we had accomplished would be undone, right?
All right, all the good energy and good work we
DJ's
put
wet.
into this.
The Hooligans headquarters gets raided.
The amount of slander.
Jim Fox doesn't talk to us anymore when we see him at Staples. He's like, no, I can't.
The amount of
Goddamn
female
hooligans.
friends I have in the Kings community would slap me in the face.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Hey, controversy.
Okay, guys.
Controversy creates ratings, though. That's all.
Let's talk. Let's end this now.
Can we just agree Vin Scully's the next goal?
I'll try my best.
All right,
Yeah,
Bruce
right.
says.
We'll try to get someone. We'll try to get someone interesting next time as our next guest.
Everybody,
How about
Carol Baskin.
a Russian guy?
No.
Kovalchuk.
do I gotta mute him?
Yeah.
Can I just start
Kovalchuk.
muting this guy? Once again, thank you everybody who stuck around with us the whole hour, 45 minutes. You guys are real ones. If you guys joined us halfway, you're cool too. Don't forget to subscribe, like,
Buy some shirts.
comment. Rumor has it you can wear
Hooligans.
the code podcast on the website. Just a rumor. Maybe you should try it yourself. I don't know.
Just
Order some
throwing
Big
this
Nick's
out there.
pizza.
Big
Podcast.
Nick's Pizza, Rose Cremation Services.
Yeah, don't die, but if you need to,
If you
it's only
do,
$995.
no, it's a family-owned business in Bellflower. It's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't forget to subscribe. We'll be back next week.
BeyondTheMorningskate.com.
Beyond,
Check
yes,
that out.
I forgot about them. I don't know if we're gonna be back in studio next week or if we're on Zoom.
It depends on how people social distance and wear a
Krista's
mask.
microphone.
What? Is he talking to his shoe?
That was my phone.
Oh, I thought he.
The worst part about this is Bustos made it a point to tell us before this episode started, and make sure none of you guys have your cell phones out. I don't want to see you guys
Right.
on your phone. And what does
I said
Bustos
during the
do?
interview.
He's
I said during the interview.
And then there's me
all right, guys. So Josh here.
with my King's pop socket.
Come on, Bustos.
You remember my audio sucks.
All right, let's
We
get out
love
of
you.
here.
Yes, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, whatever all those YouTubers say these days.
Support your local hooligans.
Support
guys.
your local hooligan. Shout out to baby Zach right here taking a nap. He was bored through this whole episode.
Baby Z.
Johnny Hack.
What up, boy?
We actually said that his
Bustos' bigger
alias
brother?
is Zach Sotelo or Zach Hacker. What was his name?
Johnny Hacker Sotelo.
Johnny Hacker Sotelo. We were talking about it earlier.
And he's gonna play for the Chargers and Lakers. That's gonna be. He's gonna be like the
end
Bo
show,
Jackson.
guys.
Yeah.
Until next week. Thanks
Look,
for
Tom,
watching.
he can't yell because the baby's sleeping. This is great.
Don't forget to subscribe. Here's where we play the music. So long, we don't have music. Bye, guys.
Bye.